Hey, Chris Liepe here with Queen, Don't Stop Me Now, isolated tracks. We have a little bit of multi-track stuff and some stems. Super fun to hear this song in this way. And I recently got to hear Mark Martel record a version of this at Blackbird Studio in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was amazing. And I'm able to do these multi-track breakdowns of great songs because this is an education channel. I teach people how to sing. And if you'd like help with your voice, if you have any interest in learning how to sing at all, click the link below and join my free voice course. Let's start with some drums. Snare. So that's dry and close mic'd, right? Now, when we add the cymbals, it's cool because you can hear the bleed of other parts of the song being played. And it shows you that this was a performance, and I mean, I think we all can agree that Queen tracked like this often, but it's neat to hear the other instruments bleed into those overheads and know that this is a band performing here, even though it's a studio performance. Which is way more common back when this was recorded than is now. Part of what makes it groove so well. It's just a band in a room. Bass. Oh, that's so cool. You can actually hear Freddie in the background. Listen really carefully here. So they've mic'd the bass amp, and we can actually, this is kind of neat, we can actually take low end out of the bass with this high pass filter and hear the bleed of just Freddie. So we can hear a little better because we don't have the low end clouding our ears. Wow, that's fun to hear. I wonder, it'll be interesting, it sounds like it might be at least partially the take that was laid down. And listen to the quality of light. Fun to speculate on that. Yeah, you can hear his bleed there too, even on those breaks. That's super cool. Hope you're listening in headphones. Let's go listen to the guitar solo. Always liked how Brian May's guitar sounds in isolation. Hear how much fizzier it sounds after that? That's really interesting. You really hear a ton of room sound. I love the way they mic'd his solos. You get that definition. There's a close mic on that cabinet, and then there's something back here, and they've phase aligned those mics so that you get two perspectives. You hear the room, but you also hear the definition. And this is something that they've done a lot to model this kind of sound in modern guitar digital modeling, but it still doesn't have quite the same imperfection. A lot of that stuff, the new stuff, still sounds and feels when you play it a bit too precise. And I love how this feels messy, yet is precise as it needs to be truly engaging. And that extra fizzy to change mic positions. I don't know. Comped together with a slightly different mic position or something. There, it's gone again. So yeah, I think they comped it together with two slightly different techniques, miking techniques, or maybe amp settings. Headphone bleed there. Awesome. Now, listen to this piano. This is amazing. Even though you hear Freddie in some of these other tracks, you don't hear it in the keys. That should tell you a lot about how you can speculate about how this was actually recorded. I mean, nothing there. You hear it in the bass, but you don't hear it here. But you do hear drums back there. Now, let's do this. Do you hear Freddie bleed there at all? Vocal Freddie. I can't say that I do. I don't want to make any definitive statements, but I think it's kind of interesting. What I would draw conclusion-wise based on what I'm hearing is that the piano was laid down first, and then the rest of the band played to the piano that was laid down, including a version, maybe not the final version, but a version of Freddie singing. Or they could have had Freddie lay down and sing, and the whole band perform together, and then they delete the piano and vocals and then have Freddie go back and record those separately. And maybe the bass performed at the same time as some of the, I don't know, there's all sorts of ways you could slice it. But it's neat to think about the creative ways that they both isolated the instruments and got the best of all the takes. I love that you can hear a little bit of that drum slap back. Let's listen to the break here. Yeah, so you hear, I mean, obviously drum bleed in there, but you also hear a little bit of Freddie singing there. So, yeah, really interesting. Let us go on to these amazing vocals.
Tonight, I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive. And the world...
By the way, it was super fun watching Martel record these and seeing the expressions on his face and then closing my eyes and then going, that just sounds so close to Freddie.
Turn it inside out, yeah. I'm floating around in ecstasy, so don't stop me now.
I've always loved this part right here.
I'm floating around in ecstasy, so don't.
And then he's in head voice, but it's this raspy, wispy, floating around so, and then he grounds so nicely in his chest voice there, but it's subtle. It's so subtle and well blended.
Stop me now.
Yeah.
Don't stop me. 'Cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. I'm a shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity.
So you can hear the bass bleed, but you can't hear the drum bleed.
I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva.
Oh, listen to that heat, that natural heat he has on his voice.
By like Lady Godiva.
A lot of that's resonance that he's moving around. This is not.
By like.
Bye. This is bye. Bye. It's resonating further back, and yet at the same time, very belty.
By like Lady Godiva.
And as he leans into that sound, where that resonance is back, and he adds a bit more compression to his voice, bye, like lady, you can hear a little bit of that breakup start to happen. That's natural compression based on how he's placing that sound in his face and in his vocal tract.
Bye, like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, go, go. There's no stopping me. I'm burning through the sky.
I mean, right there is another great example. And he does this in every song, but it's fun to see how his approach varies from song to song.
Through the sky.
Through the sky. I mean, sky. Sky. He's the least static resonating vocalist ever, right? We have, if I take the notes out of there, sky, sky. We must not overlook this as aspiring vocalists, as vocalists. This is what makes his voice so interesting. If we get rid of the pitch and we simply observe how he moves the resonance around, how he changes the way his vowels work, and how even over the same vowel shapes, he's back in his approach, he's forward in his approach, he's more nasal, he's less nasal, he's brighter, he's darker, his larynx is higher, his larynx is lower. There's all sorts of amazing things that he's not thinking about. He's just being this character when he's singing, an alternate version of himself. But if we don't work these sorts of things into our own singing and observe these kinds of things, oftentimes our voice will feel boring and trapped.
200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light. I wanna make a supersonic man out of you.
Oh, I love the layers there.
Man out of you. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. If you wanna have a good time.
How staccato those backing vocals are. And I love this right here.
Out of you.
The backing vocals fall. They fall off, and then you've got his.
Out of you.
He falls off later, and that's just part of the like free nature of it. I think sometimes when I do background vocals, I tend to make them stick with the lead in areas that maybe they shouldn't. And it's neat to hear that kind of stuff. I mean, this is definitely a very gang approach where we've got the lead vocal doing its thing, and then we've got this gang behind them. And oftentimes there needs to be this rhythmic and approach disconnect.
I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. If you wanna have a good time, just give me a call.
There's another amazing example. Listen to how he changes his resonance around.
Call.
Just give me a call. Call. Just give me. There's a little bit lower. It's very forward. Give me a call. It's moving the resonance around that makes it so expressive.
Call. Don't stop me now. I'm having a good time. Don't stop me now. I'm having a good time. I don't want to stop at all. Yeah. I'm a rocket ship.
Oh, another. I love calling these out.
Yeah. I'm a.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, just try that with your own voice and then assign comfortable pitches to it and see what happens. It doesn't matter if you're exaggerated or over the top. I mean, he is, but he's made it work. He dials it back so that it works artistically.
I'm a rocket ship on my way to Mars on a collision course.
On that vowel, listen here.
Mars
versus it's more.
Mars.
Less crowy. Mars versus
Adelaide, I'm out of control. I'm a sex machine ready to reload. Like
load.
Like an atom bomb about to explode. I'm burning through the sky. Yeah. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit.
That's interesting. A definite punch there.
200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit.
He can sing that in one take, but you can hear that's a different performance there. You can hear the proximity change.
200 degrees, that's why they...
And there's no breath.
200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light. I wanna make a supersonic woman of you.
That's cool. Those doubles that came in there were the first time we've heard something like that.
I wanna make a supersonic woman of you.
Not just the lower pitch, but even on that high note.
I wanna make a
On I wanna.
Make a supersonic woman of you.
Very cool.
Don't stop me, don't stop me, don't stop me. Hey, hey, hey! Don't stop me, don't stop me. Ooh.
Now listen to that. That's a great example of hitting a higher note, but not really making it about the note.
Don't stop me. Hey, hey, hey! Don't stop me.
He's not precise on the other heys. Hey, hey, hey! But he is precise on that high note.
Don't stop me. Hey, hey, hey! Don't stop me.
I talk about this a lot in my courses, where if we are very sort of speech oriented, hey, hey, and we just go for one note, we don't get trapped into this sort of robotic, like everything's about pitch, right? If we're hey, 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 that ends up being more like stringent, and I'm focusing too much on pitch, and that didn't sound so bad. But if we can be freer, hey, 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 we are more conversational and more engaged with the natural way that others are engaged with our voice, which is our speech, if we don't always make it about hitting notes. I realize I'm reading in a lot to this, but it works. Speak intentionally with your voice in the midst of your singing. Great example of that here.
Don't stop me, don't stop me, ooh, ooh.
You can hear it at the end there too, right?
Don't stop me, don't stop me.
Hey! Just very free.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I like it. Don't stop me.
There it is again.
Ooh, don't stop me, don't stop me. Have a good time, good time. Don't stop me, don't stop me. Oh! All right.
Yeah, there's so much speech-related narrative freedom there, but there's great pitches being hit too. It's one of the reasons he's so good. But any of us can take this approach and glean from that what makes him good here. We're not going to sound like him, but we're going to sound like a better version of ourselves.
All right. Oh, burning through the sky, yeah. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. Hey, traveling at the speed of light.
There, he's so loose and free.
Hey.
Hey. If you take nothing else away from this video other than the appreciation of this wonderful vocal performance, take away that. Speech and flippancy, is that a word? Being flippant is partially what helps him deliver such a great vocal performance.
Hey, traveling at the speed of light, I wanna make a supersonic man out of you. Yeah, yeah. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball.
Ball. Nice rasp that he's got in there and sighing out.
Ball.
This, when you put this in isolation and don't listen to the context,
I'm having a ball.
It doesn't sound good, but it is good. It's the level of expression that his vocals are expected to deliver. It just may feel or sound weird when you try to do it because it's so out of context of what you normally do. Don't let it be. Try it anyway.
Stop me now. If you want to have a good time, just give me a call. Don't stop me now. I'm having a good time. Don't stop yes.
Love those little ad-libs in the back.
I'm having a good time. I don't want to stop at all.
Always love these chord changes.
Stop at all. Da, 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 da.
That resolution there, tension resolution, so cool.
Da, 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 da,
The playfulness between singing and speaking, between performing as a vocalist and acting, being a musical actor, that's what makes Freddie Mercury tick. And we see it in this performance. We've seen a lot of Freddie Mercury performances, but we hear it especially, I think, in this one. And me being able to watch Mark Martel record this one, go check out his version. But me seeing that happen in the studio and how he moves, how he does his face and modifies the way he looks, and then that plays into how he sounds. That's what Freddie does too. It's neat to see that live reincarnation in front of me. If you want help with your own voice, click that link below. Join my free voice course. I'd love to work with you more closely. We'll see you for more.